It is so nice to see all of you here. It's nice to have guests. This is really great, especially on a very warm summer's day. Could probably think of other things to do than to come here, but we really do appreciate you stopping by and visiting us and getting to know us and what Toastmasters is all about. And by the time the meeting has ended, you will have a pretty good idea of what we do and how it is beneficial for everyone that attends our meetings, and that includes us. The theme of our meeting is harness the power of effective dialogue. How many times have you talked to somebody and you wound up having to repeat yourself over and over and over again, maybe 2, maybe 3 times before the person actually gets it? Raise your hand. I don't know about you, but that can be frustrating. And this is one of the things that Toastmasters help you do, which is to help you communicate better, so that hopefully you don't have to repeat more than once what it is that you're saying, because you find an effective way to say it, or if necessary, you're able to turn it around very quickly so that the individual does understand. And even that in itself is a skill. It doesn't take much to do it once you have it. So why are you here? It's a rhetorical question. What is it that you want? And what is it that we can do to help get you there? This is a safe environment, so you can actually practice speaking any way that you want, as crazy as you want, but you get to try out stuff. And that is the purpose of Toastmasters, allowing you to practice so that you're better. And with that, we're going to move right to our roles. So our grammarian is Adrian. Adrian, would you like to tell us what your role is about?
Yeah, sure. Can you all hear me? All right, greetings, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As the grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I'll take note of any improper language, as well as any outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. As grammarian, it is also my duty to introduce the word of the day. For today's meeting, the word is paradox, which means a situation or statement that seems impossible or is difficult to understand because it contains opposite facts. Each speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day. I will give the grammarian report when called upon during the meeting and also report on the usage of the word of the day. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Mr. Grammarian. And may we now hear from our counselor, which is Edie.
Thank you so much, Alton. My role today is very simple. I have to count all the filler words that we sometimes use when our brain is thinking and our mouth is speaking. So whenever that happens, take a pause and think what you're going to say next. So I will be counting the number of ahs, so, all of those, and give my report at the end of the meeting. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Counselor. And may we hear from our timer, Bruce?
Hi, Elton. and fellow members and guests, welcome. Every speech in Toastmasters is timed with a green, yellow, and red background. This helps keep the meeting on time, and if speakers end up going over time, then it causes a delay going forward in that. So our best opportunities are to try and stick with the color coding that will be displayed at the green will be the minimum time, the yellow the middle time, and the red the maximum time. Think of it as the 3 M's: minimum, middle, maximum. When you see the yellow, start thinking about wrapping up your speech, and then when you see the red, you have a 30-second grace period. This isn't a contest. Nobody's going to get disqualified by going over time. So just, you're okay. You're okay with that, but just try to stick with the yellow and the red. That would be great. For table topics coming up, the green comes on at 1 minute. When you're participating in table topics, just keep speaking until you see the green. And then the yellow will be at 1 minute and 30 seconds and the red at 2. And I'll report on the times throughout the meeting. Back to you, Elton, and don't forget to call the guests up to introduce themselves. Thank you.
I'm sorry?
Call the guests up to introduce themselves.
Mhm. And we're now going to turn control over to our table topics leader, and that is Rita Burke.
Before Rita gets into that, sorry, Rita, it's a good idea to have the guests come up to the front to introduce themselves. So if we could have that happen, that would be great.
Oh, okay. So would you like to start?
Yeah, should I go there?
Yeah, just come up here, and you probably need to hold this so that they can hear you clearly.
Hi everyone, my name is Brian Koa. I'm an IT project manager working with the Salvation Army. I'm here to further my public speaking knowledge and learn more from Toastmasters.
Yes.
Hi everyone, I'm Margot Pizzini. I am an IT project manager at the Salvation Army as well. I'm co-worker Brian, and I'm here to expand my leadership skills, talking in public, things like that. So I'm hoping to learn from the Toastmasters as well. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Viola Ho, and I'm an interior designer. So this is my second time being at a Toastmaster class. My goal is to improve my public speaking skill and increase my confidence in my presentation and just overall be better at public speaking. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Moral. I'm new in English. I immigrated 4 years ago, so I'm here to boost my confidence to speak. And I'm an interior designer and co-work with Viola. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Pete the programmer. I do programming IT stuff. I'm here to increase my knowledge and ability of presentations and speaking.
Okay, I think the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and to our guests. I am the table topic leader. That means that I lead a segment of the meeting that encourages you to speak for 2 minutes. You speak on a topic that I will present to you or a question. Now, there's merit, there's value to table topics. And there's absolutely no paradox as one speaks in table topics because it is considered a mini speech where there's an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. And it's really light and easy. We don't take it too seriously. So I'm going to invite some of our guests to participate as well. Right now, I'm going to give my first question to Yukta. And Yukta, your question, and I invite you to use the word paradox as you speak, keeping in mind that we're doing a mini speech during table topics. So Yukta, based on your lived experience, tell us about 2 elements of dialogue that you have found effective. And that's for Yukta. Tell us about 2 elements of dialogue that you have found effective.
Thank you, Table Topic Master Rita. Dialogue has to happen between 2 people. Dialogue has to be a conversation. And a conversation has to include listening and empathy. Those are 2 elements that have really worked out for me. I am professionally a leadership development professional, and many times when I speak to people, it's for a coaching conversation. There are leaders who don't know why they lead their team so terribly. There are other leaders who feel that their teams don't listen to them. They want to create more impact, more influence. And when they come up with these problems, I could give them a whole lecture and tell them you should do this, you should do that, that's going to make you more impactful. And I could create an influence. Or I could listen. I could say, I hear you and I understand. And then I could ask them what they could do to help themselves in that situation. That is what has worked the best for me. To sit down, to listen, to let the other person say whatever they are feeling, and using empathy to tell them that I understand them and they can help themselves. They've got it. Over to you, Rita.
Thank you so much, Yukta. That was truly wonderful. And there certainly was no paradox in what you said. It's important for us to listen and for us to demonstrate empathy. That is the making or the essence of an effective leader. And so, Michelle, I would like for you to speak now. Michelle, would you say that we're born effective speakers or we develop those skills as we grow? Michelle, are we born effective leaders?
Okay, thank you, Madame Table Topic Master. So the question is, are we born speakers or do we develop it? I believe that we develop our speaking skills and we develop it throughout our lives from when we're young right up until where we are right now. And for me, developing those skills is, as a child, you learn all these new words and you increase your vocabulary. And then you go to school and you're encouraged to speak in class and give speeches, which I didn't like to do as a kid, but and then you continue on through adulthood, high school, university, and in the workplace. At Toastmasters, you continue to develop your skills, and you just keep on going. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you so very much. There's no question that we develop the skills. I'm not so sure that it's innate. We develop skills as we go through life. Now, is it Anvish? I'd like you to participate. Tell us about your thoughts on body language as it applies to the quality of dialogue. Tell us your thoughts about body language as it applies to dialogue. Don't forget to use the word of the day, which is paradox. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Phoebe, for that great prompt. I myself would have seen massive change in the impact of what I say after I joined Toastmaster, and that is because of the body language piece that I'm now able to exhibit. The same thing if I used to say, for example, if I'm excited, if I say I'm excited, it 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 is not so impactful when I say I am excited. So it is a different feeling altogether, bringing the emotion in your voice with the body language, which also showcases that particular emotion. Because when you showcase that particular emotion through your body language, the other person gets involved, get that particular emotion directly as well, which increases the effectiveness of what you're talking and leaves nothing paradoxical between what you want to say and what is being assumed or listened by the speaker. So I would say body language is the big piece to make sure of what you're saying is impacting to anyone that you're talking to. Thank you so much. And back to you, Rita.
Wonderful. Thank you so, so very much. How would we speak? How would we communicate or have dialogue without body language? Bruce, the next question is for you. Next question is for you. Tell us about the toughest conversation or dialogue you've ever had. What's the toughest conversation you've ever had?
Thank you, TTM Rita, for that difficult question, but I'll try my best to answer it. My first thought that came to my mind was something at work. Over my many years of working, I've had to deal with some interesting, difficult people that have come across my environment at the job. And I'm not a conflict person. I don't like conflict. I don't like yelling at somebody, and I never have at work, by the way. But it's just some components or aspects that a coworker had done that brought me to be uncomfortable with the dialogue that I had to do with them, whether they did something wrong or I had to correct them on the way something was done. But it's an awkward situation for me because I'm not that kind of person, even though I know that in Pathways there's a conflict project that I really do not want to do. I don't know if I have it in my paths, if it's a required project, but I'm hoping it's not. But if I do have to do it, then I will do it. But it's just not my nature to be in conflict with anyone. I like to hear the best out of people, and I will try my best to smooth things out before it gets any kind of volatile state. It's a different paradox when you're a manager as opposed to a regular employee of a company, and that's basically what I have had to deal with, especially in the last few years before being laid off from my job because of the stupid pandemic. Back to you, TT and Rita.
Thank you so much, Bruce. You responded very effectively to the question about the toughest conversation. Now, I'd like to invite our guests, or at least one guest. Would you be willing to participate? And if you're in person, just walk up to Elton. If you're online, just raise your hand, please. Can anybody see one of our guests?
We have one.
Oh, we
Yes.
have one. Yay.
And who is that person?
Pete.
Oh, the camera just went, okay. I don't know if you see my.
Oh, that's okay. Don't worry.
Don't worry, be happy.
Yeah.
And what's the person's name?
Pete.
I'm sorry?
Pete.
Pete,
Okay, okay, wonderful. Now, would you say that you are an effective listener? Would you say that you're an effective listener?
I would like to believe I'm an effective listener, but I would say that most of the time I am not an effective listener. Like everybody else nowadays, we all have computers in our hands with the smartphones and whatever else, which tends to take our attention and our focus away from the person that is speaking. Some of the things to be an effective listener are, as mentioned before, your body language, but it's also being clear and paying attention to what the other people are speaking about or saying. Yeah, I'm trying to, so there are, one of the better ways of being an effective listener is actually being in a person-to-person conversation versus being over Zoom or even over email or text. With those devices, that type of communication, you're not going to get the full context that you would like. So it becomes kind of a paradox because you can't see, someone could be joking and you don't know if they're joking or not, depending on how they are, what the context is.
Thank you so much. That's very brave of you as a guest to step forward and participate. That is how we improve our communication and leadership skills, by jumping in and coming out of our comfort zone. Mr. Timer, do I have time for one more?
I would say so because we only have the one speech tonight and it's a basic 5 to 7 minutes, so we should be good.
Thank you so very much. I need a volunteer now. And again, our guests, don't hesitate.
Come on. Not you.
Elton's trying for somebody in the room, but Adrian does have.
I'm trying to, I'm
Okay.
trying to coax.
If the question is going beforehand, mention one.
Hey, can they have the question first? Maybe that'll coax them to go up and speak.
That will
Madam
coach them.
Topics leader.
Yes, I will do that now. I will say to the person who wants to volunteer, how did you learn to communicate effectively? How did you learn to communicate effectively? Yes?
No takers.
No takers.
Oh, wait, we have one.
All right.
That is Meryl. Is that correct? Viola? Okay.
Viola, go for it, please. How did you learn to communicate effectively?
So I think one way I learned to communicate effectively is actually to be the best listener. I think as much as like speaking is important, I think being a good listener is actually more important, because if you don't even listen properly, you don't understand the question, you'll never be the best communicator. So I think like be the best listener and then try to understand where the other person is coming from, not both emotionally or like professionally. Put your heart out there to understand the other person is the best way to be a good communicator. Sometimes people keep talking, but they don't fully understand the situation. They don't learn from the other person. Even though like they can have like the best dialogue, but they might not be the most effective communicator because like they're answering the wrong questions. Yeah, so I think being apart from being the good listener is my way to improve my communication skills.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. That again was very brave of you. Two guests came forward, and that is the beginning of your Toastmasters journey when we practice, when we work with table topics, because very often we're called upon, as you know, to speak spontaneously, and we have no option but to respond. And this gives us the practice. I think this is a good time, if we haven't got any more volunteers, to me to pass the mic or yield the mic to our Toastmaster. Are there any more volunteers? No? Mr. Toastmaster, I yield the mic to you, sir.
Thank you very much for giving us a thought-provoking table topic session. I think everyone enjoyed it and probably shook some of the cobwebs out. Is exactly why we were here. And so we're going to move into our, somebody stole my agenda. Okay. So at this point, we're moving into the second portion of our meeting, which is our speaker. Tonight, our speaker is Ken. And Ken, do you have, is this title of the speech here?
No, the wrong time.
Okay, when you come up, I'll allow you to do that. BB is your evaluator. BB, would you mind giving us the objectives?
Yes, I will get to it right now. Just let me bring it up so I can give you his Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests, and especially Ken. Today, Ken is presenting a speech from his path motivational strategy level 1, and he's doing the all motivational strategies level 1 path, where his fourth project is about research and presenting. And the purpose of his speech is for him to learn or review basic speech methods and present a well-organized, well-researched speech on any topic. Of course, the speech will be well-organized and well-developed speech. It may be humorous, informational, or any style the member choose. The speech content and style should work well together. And that is Ken's objective today. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster, and he will deliver his speech within 5 to 7 minutes. Back to you, out.
Ken's title to his speech is Pay Your Fare. Pay Your Fare in Weinberg.
Thank you, Elton. There's no such thing as a free lunch. Of course, you've all heard that before. And unless you want to pay a hefty fine, there is no such thing as a free ride on the TTC or Go Transit or 8 or 9 of the other transit agencies in the region. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, well before most of us were born, When you boarded a public transit vehicle, you would give your money to someone known as the collector, not the driver, a separate role. Over time, the collector role was eliminated and the fare box was introduced. The early fare boxes were made by a company called Johnson Fare Box or Cleveland Fare Box. And to this day, many buses and streetcars still have a version of the Johnson Fare Box, collecting your coins, your tokens, your tickets. And that's the driver's job, to carry those into the building at the end of their route. But things have come a long way since then. Today's modern fare payment methods have superseded the fare box to a great extent. And today, I'll be talking to you about modern fare payment methods and providing a comparison of the different methods that are in use in the Golden Horseshoe. Raise your hand if you pay your fare using one of those old legacy methods, cash, tickets, or tokens. Do we have anyone here that still uses those? Am I turning the camera off by doing this?
Yeah.
Okay, not too many. All right, now let me ask you, how many people pay their fare on public transit using a Presto card where they load money on it in advance? We have about 4 here, and I see a few online. Okay, you can lower your hands. Now, raise your hands if your Presto card has been added to the mobile wallet on your smartphone. Now, a few of you have done that too. Getting even more modern, you can throw away your plastic Presto card because you won't need it. Now, the more modern methods include credit cards and debit cards. How many of you are using those to pay your fare on one of the transit systems around town? I see a couple here in the room. All right, that's not the end of the journey for fare payment methods, believe it or not. I'm going to be introducing to you today an even more modern method for paying the fare. But before I do that, I just want to get into the characteristics of one of the methods that you identified as being in use today. The reason that we have so many different fare payment methods is because there isn't one fare method that is suitable for everyone. Point number one, about 21% of the population of Canada is unbanked or underbanked, which means they may have a checking account, but they don't necessarily have a credit card account. And then again, there's a whole bunch of people who don't have any bank account. So that's according to the market research organization called Mintel. And we have to support those people who want to take public transit, even on vehicles that don't have a fare box, like the streetcars in Toronto. Metrolinx reported to the TTC Board of Directors just recently that there are a number of people, about 1/3 of Presto cardholders, that do not want to register their cards because they want the privacy of taking public transit without the man knowing where they're going. That's 1/3. So we have to accommodate the people who want the ultimate in privacy when they travel. And there are some customers who want to use the latest conveniences. They want to use their smartphones and their smartwatches and their smart lapel pins or any embedded technology that they can to pay their fare. So that has to be adopted as well. The only way this watch would pay my fare is if I hawked it on Yonge Street and used the money to buy a ticket. It's not the smartest watch in the world, but that's okay. On the prestocard.ca website, there's a complete description of their modernization program, which just last week, on the day of the flood, introduced the Presto card in Apple Wallet. And that completes this part of the modernization program. So how do these systems provide the services required to the customers who travel and the transit agencies that want their fare? Well, I'll start with the open payment system, which is the credit card and debit card, being physical cards or on your watch or your phone. Using open payment, and it's called that because it includes a banking institution to help process the payment rather than a closed payment system like the Presto card system, where the banking system isn't necessarily involved unless you're loading your card. In the open payment system, when you tap your credit or debit card, Presto doesn't know if there's money in your checking account, and it doesn't know if you have room in your credit card to pay the fare. So it trusts you and lets you on, and then goes to the bank to see if there's a payment coming. In the event that the bank declines that purchase, you won't be able to make another trip, but you'll be able to finish the trip that you're on. And then the onus is on you to pay down your credit card bill or put money in your checking account before your card becomes valid again to travel. That is the same system that is used throughout the world. And the reason that we don't check with the bank as soon as you tap your card is because that fare gate has to open in a quarter of a second. You have to let people through quickly at the bus. We don't want them sitting there waiting for the bank to get back to us with an okay on that purchase. That is what is called the MTT, or the Mobile Transport Transaction Framework, that is used on transit agencies throughout the world. So that applies to credit card or debit card. And those systems are equivalent for most people when they go to buy something, with the exception in transit, in that if you have an unpaid fare, tapping your credit card, the system will attempt to collect your unpaid fare and then tell you to tap again to pay the fare for the trip that you're currently on. Well, with debit card, if you have an unpaid fare, tapping your card the next time you travel, we will not attempt to collect an unpaid fare. We're not allowed to, so you'll have to go to your Presto card website and pay your fare using some other fare payment method. So there are some nuances between those two systems. What's coming for fare payment system in the Presto ecosystem is what's called account-based fare payment. And that is where you tap a card, which is your credential, just like a Tim's card or a Starbucks card, and that is recorded and later processed so that you'll get a bill at the end of the day. So you won't be billed immediately. So you won't even be able to tell how much your transit bill is during the day, because it could depend on what time of day you tap, what transfers you made, what transit systems you transfer to, and so on. That all has to be calculated at the end of the day. So that would be the account-based system that's coming. And this is a modern innovation in transit system fare payment. And you can read more about it on the VIX technology website. They have fare payment systems throughout the world. Over 200 transit systems use their system. The other very important issue about a fare payment system is that it has to be secure. Can you imagine if there was a security breach at Presto and everybody's travel history was revealed and all their credit and debit card information was released? It's very important that these things are locked down safe. So we make sure that nothing is released before it is thoroughly tested. So cities need modern transit systems so that people will not drive to work, because there's no more room on the streets for the current population and the population growth that we can expect to have. Having an account base, or even a credit or debit card based fare payment system makes it smoother to pay your fare and travel throughout a region, encouraging people to get out of their cars and onto public transit. So I hope you've learned something today about modern, convenient, safe, secure fare transit payment systems, and you can rest assured that the next time you need to travel on a transit system in the Greater Toronto and Hamilton area, you'll be able to pay your fare with whatever you can find in your pocket, and if you don't, you can always lock your watch on the street. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Okay, you need to do that. You need to do it again.
Great.
if you're wondering, the camera tracks certain movements, by doing this or doing whatever, you turn the camera on or off to track the movement.
What color do I want? Blue?
Yes, you want it to be blue, but you have to wait until it's finished doing the blue.
Oh. I can't hear you, Phoebe.
Closer to your face.
BB's not speaking. We're just still waiting
Okay.
for this camera to stop.
Yeah, that's great. That's good. I think it might be worth now.
Yeah.
Fighting the wrong.
Well, thank you very much for your unique presentation about our transit system. And can we have 1 minute so that our evaluator can evaluate Tim's presentation? And if anyone has anything that they would like to let Tim know, you could probably, email it to you? If someone wants to give you suggestions?
Yeah.
No, yeah, he said, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, everyone and all the members should have received a list of my references in their email.
So all of you should have received the references from Tim. Should be in your email.
I got the email idea. I had no idea what it was about.
But now you know.
Now I know. I haven't deleted it. I just didn't know what it was about.
Okay, is the minute up?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I suppose so. I didn't. I didn't hear.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for.
Sorry about that.
Much. And that's okay. So now we're going to turn control over to our GE, our general evaluator, which is
Michelle.
Michelle. It's all yours.
Thank you, Elton. And so as general evaluator, I'm going to evaluate the whole meeting, but before I do that, I'm going to introduce our speech evaluator, BB. The floor is yours. She's going to evaluate Ken's speech.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests, and especially you, Ken. Well, thank you, Ken, for presenting a well-organized speech about the development of transit system fare and the fare box. You start from history to modern days times. It was done in a chronological order. In my opinion, you did not leave out anything that I could think of, and you incorporate every single thing you could think of, from Presto card to debit card, credit card, cash payment, token, whatever tickets, you got it all covered for us. You gave us the reason why this is so, and you expanded on it, and you earlier shared with us via email the source of your information, even though you mentioned it towards the end. Thank you so much for that. Now, as I said, it's a well-organized speech. However, I found that the information you presented was a bit too much for us to absorb at that time. my gift to you is perhaps you could have chose the 3 most impactful area that you want to share with us. Perhaps in my area, I found that the debit card and the credit card and how it works should have been one that's covered. Most of us know about cash payments and token payment, and perhaps some on the Presto system, and a little bit of the security involved, because whatever is utmost in the consumer mind that makes a difference, that is what I felt that should have been covered, because there was so much information. To me, you were just spewing it out. There was no paradox there. You were spewing it out so that we can all get a little bit of everything involved. Because it was so much information, you didn't pause as much. You also use excellent gestures to make your speech more impactful for your in-person audience and online audience. But however, I noticed that your eyes were focused on your in-person audience, where we're not focused on your online audience. And I felt it was because you had too much information and you were not pausing enough to remember that you have an online influence there. In concluding, a great speech. You covered everything. You covered the source. You told us more than we need. My gifts to you was it was too long, too lengthy. Choose 3 parts that you want to focus. Make sure you cover eye contact with the online audience. And remember that your to us is one that you need us to remember that is important to you. Back to you, Madam GE.
You're on mute. You were on mute, Michelle. We didn't know what.
Oh, sorry. I'd like to thank you very much, Phoebe, for your good evaluation. And I'd like to introduce Adrian, our grammarian, to give us his report. Adrian, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. This is the first time I did this report on the grammarian, so bear with me. So I found that the word was used 6 times. Our table topic person had used it the most. Bruce used it, and the evaluator used it as well. Maybe there was more. Did I miss any? Not sure. Anyone here at Paradox? All right, well, I think we did well. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Adrian. And now I'd like to call upon our all-counter, Anvesh, to give us his report. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I would say today's meeting was really awesome. It was at the starting, I felt maybe I am missing out on counting hours because I was just engrossed in whatever was being talked. But then I quickly started tracking all the filler words. I did find repetition as well. I had 2 repetitions and whenever I was speaking. BB had started once, so there was 1 repetition for BB. For us, I found that Michelle, you had used 2 us. Adrian used us 6 times. Pete had 5 us, and Viola had 5 us. So was probably our best filler words, which we can try to reduce by just pausing at that moment when we are thinking of something to speak. Thank you, and back to you, Michelle.
Thank you, Anvesh. I'd like to introduce Bruce, our timer, and to give us his report.
Thank you, Phoebe. For our, what's that echo? For our formal speakers, okay, I'll try again. There we go, okay. No echo now. Ken's formal speech came in slightly over time there, Ken, at 10 minutes and 7 seconds. For the table topic speakers, we had Yukta 132, Michelle 122, Anvish 123, myself 218, Pete 121, and Viola 118. They were all good, all within time. BB's evaluation of Ken's speech came in at 334, 4 seconds over. And Anvish's odd counter report, 55 seconds. And Adrian's grammarian report, 39 seconds. Back to you, GE, Michelle.
Okay, thank you, Bruce. And so now I'm going to give an evaluation of the meeting. If you can give me 3 minutes, timer. Thank you. And so the meeting, overall, the meeting went very well. We started at 6:17, so we were 2 minutes late. But it looks like we're going to end on time. And for the grammarian, for Adrian, you did really introduced your role very well in terms of what your role was. And my gift to you would be to let us know that every time someone uses the word of the day, we can use our jazz hands to so we can acknowledge the person that used the word. And then you gave a good report as well. And for the speech evaluation, BB, you gave a good speech evaluation. For Ken's speech, you used I statements in terms of what you noticed, and you also gave information about what he did well, and also the areas of growth. And I like the wording that you used, like my gift to you. And I also liked how Bruce helped Elton out by reminding him to introduce the guests. And also Elton helped Bruce out when it came with the 1 minute timing. So that's great that members of the meeting help each other out. And for the table topics, Rita, she gave a good introduction, encouraged everyone to give the intro, body, and conclusion for each speech. And she gave a summary after each speech as well. And also, she reminded us to use the word of the day. And she also invited guests to speak. And the guests did get involved, which is great. And I believe that's it. So overall, yeah, the all counters and the timers gave a good introduction to their roles and also gave a good reports at the end. So back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Madam Judy. For giving us a overview of our meeting, which is extremely important. Without that, we will just continue to do the same old thing over and over again and thinking we're doing the right thing, and that probably won't be it. Okay, so I see here we have the announcement of someone's announcing the table topic winner. Is that correct? Okay, I guess not.
No, Rita forgot to request a vote for the table topic speakers, so that kind of went off
Okay,
off
all right.
off agenda.
Okay, club business? Bruce?
Oh, that would be me too. We're waiting for the Toastmasters International to update the dashboards to reflect the current year. I checked this morning and they still hadn't changed over to July, so still showing June, ending June 30th. And that way, once it's changed over, we'll know where we stand with the club officer training numbers. We need 4. I think we're there on that, but when I see the numbers, it will hopefully reflect that. So, and that's all I can think of. BB, can you think of anything else?
Not at this time, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Elton.
Okay, thank you very much. And let's hear from our guests. We're anxious to hear. I don't know about you guys, but I had a good time. Well, now we want to know whether or not you guys had a good time. We're just gonna pass the mic. You guys can see them, I think. Yeah. So we're just gonna pass the mic.
I believe what you guys are doing here is really good. It's helping me understand, and I appreciate you guys allowing guests into your club to see how things are done, and how we're going to learn more as we progress through. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's really nice to get a sample of how things operate and what we can learn here. So, yeah, thanks for being here.
Welcome you to the session. You can see how it's done and dimension. I learned some cool facts about the advice before. Yeah, thank you for sharing the feedback. I'm excited to see what actually you have to pay attention to. If you don't learn to that, that's thank you. Thank you for listening. Very helpful. And having some of these feedback on the words. It's also something really helpful that I know this.
So, I want to thank you for making this safe zone for everyone. And it was a great experience for me as well. It's nice to people pay attention and sleep to hold your errors and
Yes, it was good. I enjoyed Ken's speech. Ken and Elton didn't figure as much as they did last time. One thing of note, maybe for Elton or for Ken, if I'm thinking where Elton is, I can't see the timer screen. So I don't know if it's green, black, yellow, or red. Other than that, I think it was a good day.
Thank you very much for the feedback. It's extremely important that we get that, because if we don't, well, we just think everything's just fine. And we do appreciate all of your comments. Thank you. And I guess, are there any other announcements that we need to make, Bruce, before we adjourn?
Not that I know of, other than the next meeting is next. August 13th is our next meeting. So we fully expect everybody that's here tonight to be here again on August 13th and then some. So
Okay, and so all of you who filled out this form right here, you will receive an announcement a week before the meeting, so that you'll know when and what the meeting theme is going to be about, and also avenue for you to ask questions if you wish. And they'll come to myself, either Bruce or either B. In any case, you'll get an answer. Right, and if that's it, then I call this meeting adjourned. Thank you guys so much.
There you go.